What if I was to tell you that there's an herb book that exists out there in the world that upon reading it will bestow all knowledge upon you and the power to help and heal anyone and everyone that comes to visit you for help? Okay, it may not be quite that powerful and magical, but it is a really incredible herb book that absolutely needs to be on your shelf, and that is none other than this tome right here, The Practicing Herbalist by Margie Flint. All right, everyone, welcome back to The Plant Path. I'm your host, Sajah Popham, founder of the School of Evolutionary Herbalism and Natura Sophia Spagyrics. And before I get into talking about one of my favorite herb books, small request, if you haven't done so yet, please just take a minute and subscribe to the channel, follow the podcast, all that good stuff. Hit that like. We spend a lot of time and effort and energy here at Evolutionary Herbalism, doing our best to publish good quality educational content for the herbal community and for free. And one of the ways that we can do that is by your support. And so thank you very much. If you ever noticed, we actually have not monetized our channel here on YouTube, if you're on YouTube. And we do that because, well, I watch a little YouTube every now and then, and those ads drive me crazy. So I don't want to do that to you. So we have not monetized this channel, but hey, if you can like, subscribe, share it with someone, it really does help support the channel and help us continue to do this work. Also, watching and listening all the way to the end of the video is very, very helpful for all the algorithms and all of that stuff. So thanks for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. And I haven't done a book review in a while, and I was standing there in front of my large collection of herbal tomes, and I thought, you know, I want to talk about Margie's book. This is The Practicing Herbalist by Margie Flint. What edition is this? I think this is the 4th edition, and I actually had the honor of writing the foreword to the 4th edition of this book. And I met Margie a long time ago at an herb conference. I think it might have been American Herbalist Guild conference in Oregon. And just immediately we had a really great connection, really great conversation. And I was kind of the new kid on the block, I guess, in terms of being at herb conferences and contributing and teaching and sharing what little bit of knowledge that I have with the people that are there. And sometimes there were instances where I did not feel warmly welcomed. We'll put it like that. And Margie was really one of the first ones, I think, of that generation behind me or in front of me, ahead of me. Yeah, ahead of me. Yeah, I guess that would be the better way of saying it. That just really tucked me under her wing and was really kind and really sweet and really encouraging. So Margie has a special place in my heart. Love her very, very much. She's a great herbalist. She's a great teacher. And I want to talk about her book because this book, if you want to be a practicing herbalist, as the name of the book implies, if you have any inclination to helping people with herbal medicine, you need this book. Hey, quick announcement, everybody, before we get into talking about Margie's most excellent book on how to become a practicing herbalist. Right now, we are in our 2026 open enrollment period for our Vitalist Herbal Practitioner program. As you might have gathered by now, there is a lot to learn in order to be an effective practicing herbalist. There's a lot of logistical things you got to know. There's a lot of practical things you got to know about your plants, obviously, how to work with them, how to understand them holistically, how to formulate with them. There's also a lot to learn about people, how to assess them, how to do your interview, how do you do your intake, how to figure out what's going on in order to help them. That is exactly what the Vitalist Herbalism Practitioner Practitioner program is, and I would be honored to have you join. So head on over to our website right now at evolutionaryherbalism.com. We are currently in our open enrollment period, and it ends this Friday. So be sure to check it out. This is our 2026 period of enrollment where you can get in at a special discount, get some extra bonus modules along the way, and be a part of an incredible community that is doing their best to be of service to their family, their community, to their clinic through the healing power of the plant. So check it out at evolutionaryherbalism.com. Enrollment closes at the end of this week, and I look forward to seeing you in there. And let's get back to talking about Margie's book, The Practicing Herbalist. This book does things most herb books don't do. This is unlike any other herb book that you have on your shelf, okay? And I'm gonna talk about why. Mainly because this book goes into all the stuff, the logistics, right, of working with people and the complexities that emerge when you start working with people. So she has a really great, the whole foundation of the book, starting a practice and really thinking through these things of defining what kind of herbalist you are, what kind of practice you want to have, what kind of people do you want to serve, how do you create a space to receive people. And I would say whether that is physical or remote, you should have a designated space that looks nice and is welcoming, and makes people feel comfortable, has a professional look. She even goes into creating your dispensary, your apothecary, all of that stuff. And then getting into very practical aspects of working with people in terms of booking appointments, how to do things virtually, into a lot of even some of the stuff on marketing and how to kind of put yourself out there to start to receive clients. Really, really great stuff. So that's kind of the foundation of the book, is this just really practical aspects of being a practicing herbalist that I don't really feel like I've seen in any other herb book before. So that foundation is really great. Now she gets into a lot of the details of doing good intakes. And this is one of the areas that I think Margie is one of the best in. She is very, very good at assessment, at interview, at intake, at reading the body. And if you have had the honor and pleasure and joy of attending a workshop with Margie at a conference of some sort, this is oftentimes what she's teaching, is reading the body, the facial lines, the tongue, the pulse, the nails, the hair, a way of looking at the pattern of the person. She's really the way I see it is she's like a master of the doctrine of signatures for people. Right? We usually think of doctrine of signatures as, the plant, we just think of it for plants. Well, the plant looks like a heart, so it's good for your heart. Or it looks like the hemispheres of the brain, so it's good for the brain. Margie does that, but with people. Looking at the lines on your face, looking at the coloration, looking at the nature of the tongue. Where is the coating thick? Where is it thin? Where is it peeled? Is it yellow? Is it pale? Is it red? The pulse. Where is it high? Where is it low? Is it tense? Is it relaxed? All these things. And putting those various layers of testimony together, coupled with your interview and your intake, to understand what is going on here. That's really the ultimate goal of an intake procedure, right? Is just figuring out what's going on here. And I used to say, what is the root cause of the problems this person is facing? I think as I've gotten a little bit older and learned a little bit more, now I like to say, what are the root causes of what's going on for this person? Because I think very rarely is it a taproot. More often than not, it is a whole network of, it's a rhizomatous network of interconnected contributing factors that leads people to their relative state of health or lack of health. So there is just incredible intake protocols in here. This chapter 7, asking questions. She's got a blank intake form that you can use, how to go about doing a case history, how to go about getting dietary information, which can be really tough to get, even into an organ system by organ system evaluation of specific questions to ask to get specific information from the person. Because if you don't get the right information from the person, you're not going to get the right remedy. And if you're not going to get the right remedy, you're not going to have a lot of success as an herbalist. And so she is, I think, one of the best at breaking this process down for how to do great intakes. The rest of the book is a lot of in-depth information about a variety of therapeutic dynamics here. So she's got specific things here on cancer, treating cancer, dealing with cancer. As far as I remember, she is a cancer survivor. There's whole sections here on Lyme disease. For those of you living in the Northeast of the United States, this is a big one. I mean, it's spreading all over the US, but especially in the Northeast. This is a big one. So she's got, I think, three chapters in here. David Winston is a major contributing author here on the Lyme disease area. He's got a lot of experience in that. Autoimmune disease and insulin resistance, chronic pain, disrupted sleep, headache and head trauma. Huge section on the endocrine cascade and endocrine glands. Viral infections. And then it gets into, so there's a lot of details there on, I would say, some of the more complex things that people might deal with as a practitioner and need to help people with. Lots of great stuff there. Next comes my favorite parts of the book, which is really the energetics and the assessment. So the first part with assessment is more the interview process. In the back, she's got all these incredible chapters on, for example, constitutional body types. So she goes into assessing Vata, Pitta, and Kapha from Ayurvedic Tridosha, to the 4 humoral temperaments of Galenic medicine: sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and which ones did I say? Sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic, and choleric. So she goes into that, coupled with tissue states, right? The 6 tissue states that, Matthew Wood kind of not revamped, but kind of took the physiomedicalist understanding of tissue states and united them with some other models and way of describing them. That's a very useful system. I use that system too. Very, very good. So she goes into kind of the fundamental energetic patterns that you need to learn how to assess in people. And then the rest is super deep dive on how do you actually do that, right? So there's a chapter on the tone of the voice. What do you listen for? What is the sound of the Vata voice versus the Pitta voice versus the Kapha voice? Looking at color. What is the meaning of different colors? When you're examining a body, you see lots of different colors, right? You're looking at the skin, you're looking at the eyes, you're looking at the sclera of the eyes, you're looking at the nail beds, you're looking at the tongue. Perhaps you're looking at expectorated material. If someone's coughing up phlegm or whatever, you're potentially talking about the color and nature of someone's urine or their feces. Color carries great meaning for holistic assessment and evaluation. So she really goes into what the meaning of those different colors are. Fascinating stuff. Next is one of my favorite areas, and I'll maybe see if 395. Yeah, so this is her sections on organ and body correspondences. Organ and body correspondences. So she goes through the primary organs of the body and talks about their relationship to the various diagnostic methods that you use. So, for example, if you're assessing the small intestine, where do you look on the face? Where do you feel in the pulse? Where do you look in, say, the eye or the fingernails? What do you look at on the tongue? And in the back of the book, there's these absolutely awesome cheat sheets. These are so cool. So I'm not sure if the camera will be able to capture these or not. Hopefully it will. Maybe hide my face, as I think it's trying to show my face. But what you have here is okay, this is the lung. So she's saying, okay, on the tongue, look for these patterns. Here's the tongue area on either side, kind of the front third on the left and right center. You want to look for kind of bubbles running along the edge. I think that's what those called, or maybe that's raised papillae. You're looking at circulation on the index finger. If you see these blue areas on the index, poor circulation, which is going to relate to respiration. Butt pimples. Lungs need movement, too sedentary. Foot pain, butt pimples. Dry on this kind of underside part of the tongue. So she's got all these things to look at, and the nails on the face. The cheeks are sunken, yellow around mouth and chin, environmental toxicity or hypothyroid. Where there might be areas on the body where there's tension or tightness, right? So that's her lung cheat sheet. So these are really cool because it shows where you find the testimonies in the body for certain organ systems. I lost my, there we go. So this is such good stuff, right? Then she goes into the different examinations. Examining the face. This is the one area that Margie's work that I think is really fascinating. I do use this, though I'm not nearly as good at it as she is. Examining the face. So the different areas of the body are corresponded to different areas of the face. So they say, for example, the heart is in the nose. The whole jawline and chin is like the pelvic floor. The stomach is around the lips. The small and large intestine are the lines on the forehead. Right here is the liver. Gallbladder is over here. So there's all the different areas of the face correlate to different organs of the body. And so what you're looking for oftentimes there would be lines, like facial lines. You can also look at coloration, dryness or oiliness, things of that nature. Examining the ears, examining the eyes. And she goes into all kinds of detail here. The eyebrows, the color of the sclera, the pupils, below the eyelid, right? These areas under the eyelid, looking at all these different aspects of the eyes, the nose, the teeth, the mouth, the lips, the chin. And then, of course, she goes into her tongue assessment. And this is really cool. She's got her... the tongue chart that she says was from William Lesassier's tongue diagram, which is one of her, she says, one of her main teachers. Probably not going to be able to see that very well, but it's a very involved tongue diagram. It is much more specific than any other tongue diagram that I've seen. Very, very useful. And what I like about these whole areas is that they all have pictures. Right? So it's these charts, and these charts will say, okay, we're on mouth and lips. Okay, so there's what happens when just the lower lip is chapped. What if they're holding the mouth open all the time? A dark outline surrounding the lips. Inside lips is blue. Inside lips is red. What happens when the corners turn down? You've seen that, where the corners turn down. What happens when it's drooping, right? It's just all these specific things, but it's in these charts with the description, with the picture, and what that means. So really, really cool. Very, very specific method of assessment and diagnostics. Of course, we don't really say diagnostics too much. It's best to just get in the habit of saying assessment or evaluation. Fingernails, hands, assessing elimination, feces, urine, the pulse positions. This book is 500 pages, 500 plus pages long and incredible. Unlike any other herb book that's on my shelf. And I've got a lot of herb books, old herb books, new herb books, obscure herb books, popular herb books. This is one of a kind book. So that is a little introduction to Margie's book, The Practicing Herbalist, meeting with clients, reading the body. You can pick up your copy of The Practicing Herbalist. I will put a link in the show notes. Fair warning, this is not necessarily a cheap book, so save up for it. Margie does self-publish this book, and this is a great way that you can support her work. I do encourage you to get the most recent edition, which, as far as my understanding at the time of filming this here in 2026, is the 4th edition. And I can't recommend this book enough. This is not for the beginner, okay? This isn't for the beginner. This is for people that really want to practice, right? Whether you want to practice at some point, you should have this book. If you are currently practicing, you should definitely have this book. It levels up every area of your work as an herbalist, from the assessment process to the logistics of running your practice. I mean, for Pete's sake, she's got a section in here on how to set up your QuickBooks and your accounting software, okay? What other herbalist is going to do that? I don't know. I've never seen it anywhere but in The Practicing Herbalist. And Margie's just fantastic. I really encourage you to look into her work. She's just fantastic. I was actually really bummed. She was here in Washington like a month ago, and she was planning on coming and visiting myself and Whitney and to meet the kids and all that. And the week before she came, or for a few days before she came, we got slammed with I don't even know what. But I had a really high fever. Whitney got fever. We were all really, really sick in the house. And I unfortunately had to cancel. So we weren't able to get a visit in with her. But if you ever get a chance to take a class with Margie, she does a lot of conferences around the United States. She's a fantastic teacher. She's a lovely woman, and I can't recommend her or her book highly enough. So check out The Practicing Herbalist. You know, if it's a little out of your range, maybe put it on a Christmas list or something like that. And this is a book that should adorn your bookshelf. And it should have, well, mine still looks really brand new. But that's because I had the 3rd edition, and that 3rd edition is in pretty rough shape. It's got the dog ears and the bent corners and I think one of my kids got a hold of it when he was 2 and might have ripped a page or two. So it's got some tape on there. But it's a really great book. Highly recommend it as to support Margie. So yeah, I hadn't done a book recommendation in a while, and this was one I really wanted to get to. So hopefully you will check it out. Link in the description below. And thank you so much for checking out this episode of The Plant Path. I hope you are enjoying your life out there, that you're staying strong, that you're getting outside, that you're being with the plants, that you're staying good within yourself amidst all the things happening in the world, and that you are focusing on being a good healer of yourself and of others, and being a good instrument for these medicine plants to flow through and to bring their healing out into the world. And so thank you very much for being here and allowing me to share what little I know, to hopefully put a little signpost along your plant path to help guide you in a good direction. That's always my intention, so that more people can receive the blessing and the healing of the plant. So thank you very much. I do truly appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next one, take care and be well.